Colourful figures are often beloved in politics, and probably none more so than the British Conservative politician Boris Johnson. He's funny, outspoken, smart and just a little bit shambolic. Mr Johnson's currently the London mayor, and the recent Olympics there catapulted him onto the world stage. Europe correspondent Mary Gearan reports that polls show Brits prefer him by far to their Prime Minister David Cameron, and that's raising speculation about Boris Johnson's future.
It's very irritating when you're cycling down the street, minding your own business, going, not doing anybody any harm, when people suddenly shout at you in a very, loud and aggressive way, something like, you sod off, you Tory tosser, whatever.
Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson, Mayor of London, the tousled toff with mass appeal.
Ping pong was invented on the dining tables of England, ladies and gentlemen, in the 19th century. It was, and it was called whiff-waff.
Boris Johnson arrived at the Conservative Party conference like a rock star about to deliver his greatest hits.
That's what, I'll see you all later, OK? Come to the thing, whichever it is, tonight.
You could almost feel the tension in Tory ranks. Would the Muppet-haired mayor continue what some see as a madcap campaign for the top job?
Who is going to be Britain's next Prime Minister? Now...
and we all know it's going to be you, Boris.
I'm sure that in his dreams he is Prime Minister one day, and I'm sure that when people tell him that he can be, could be, will be, he half listens to them.
Every sort of sinew in his body wants it to happen. He certainly sees it as his destiny to be Prime Minister.
It's become the greatest political guessing game of the year. Is Boris Johnson seriously aiming to be PM? The speculation flares every time he upstages David Cameron, and it happens pretty often. Take this speech at the post-Olympics victory parade.
You produced such paroxysms of tears and joy on the sofas of Britain that you probably not only inspired a generation, but helped to create one as well. And propelled... I can get away with that.
It was blatant. Did he do it on purpose? You can never tell with Boris. He's just a force of nature.
With all eyes on him at the Conservative Party conference, Boris Johnson whistled a conspicuously loyal tune.
Where? There you are then.
Playing the room like a seasoned entertainer, he even thanked David Cameron for calling him a blonde mop.
Well, if I'm a mop, then you are a broom. A broom that is cleaning up the mess left by the Labour government, and a fantastic job you are doing. And I thank you. And
what was supposed to be a pledge of allegiance, again, did little to quell the speculation. Just another winning display of unpredictability and charisma.
Oh God, they've locked me out.
I've known Boris virtually since he was a child, and there's still quite a lot of child in Boris. He's very charming. Would I lend him the contents of my wallet? I most certainly would not, because I wouldn't get it back. Would I let him take my sister to a dance? No, I would not, because I might not get her back either.
Could Boris Johnson aspire to number 10? For a notion that's so often dismissed, it's remarkably persistent. Most observers say that's got more to do with the relative unpopularity of the actual PM, David Cameron, within some parts of his own party.
They think he's not anti-European enough, they think he's not right-wing enough. Boris Johnson is a symptom. He's a symptom, like a runny nose or a high temperature or hallucinations of some underlying virus. And the underlying virus is really the desperate state of the economy.
Former Conservative MP Matthew Parris says not even insiders can tell what sort of PM Boris Johnson would make.
I couldn't really slot Boris Johnson into any particular ideology. He's opportunistic. He just seizes whatever comes, whatever fruit he sees hanging from the tree. And in that, and in his anarchic personal style, allows both the left and the right and the centre to think that, well, perhaps he's kind of on our side.
You can't really say that Boris stands for anything. He's changed his mind about things from actually, even the European Union. He's been sort of blown hot and cold on that subject for many years, but climate change, many others.
Sonia Purnell worked closely alongside Boris Johnson at The Telegraph in the early 90s. She was one of the first to allege Johnson's bumbling allure is actually contrived.
He had this incredible ambition, absolutely extraordinary ambition, quite ruthless, but all disguised by this kind of shambling, scruffy guy, the one who puts his fingers through his hair to ruffle it.
So this shambolic image is carefully crafted?
Yeah, very carefully crafted, up to the hair and down. Yes, absolutely.
In theory, Boris Johnson is wrapped up by his mayoral robes until 2016, but he's a master of escape and no one is prepared to write him off just yet.
Get me a ladder.
Don't write off Boris. He may be all the crazy things he is, but he's a clever, crafty fellow.